All right, so let's look at the studies and research that are used to create the 1-minute metabolism boost and why the metabolism boost really works. The 1-minute metabolism boost is designed to switch the body into a peace as opposed to a war situation. You'll learn about peace and war in the next section, but essentially that's the beauty of this particular technique. It switches the body from war to peace, and in a peace situation, digestion is switched on, metabolism switched on, the immune system switched on. So all of the processes that we need to lose weight, to get healthy, to improve health and well-being are actually part of peace. So I really need an easy way to switch from war to peace, and this is a way to do that. And as I said before, by linking the 1-minute metabolism to food, you're switching to peace at least 4 or 5 times a day every time you eat. And so you're reducing the amounts of bad hormones in your body like cortisol and adrenaline, and you're increasing the good hormones like serotonin and oxytocin and all the things that help your body repair, regenerate, use the energy. So essentially the 1-minute metabolism boost firstly switches your emotions from war to peace, therefore switches the body from war to peace. It is designed to boost the metabolism by doing that. It improves digestion and also reduces hunger. How does it really work? Because it really seems really simple to take 4 breaths and chew properly. And it's hard to believe that that small change will actually change the way you lose weight loss. So these studies are real-world studies that were used in the way that I developed the 1-minute metabolism. The 3 studies that I'm going to show you, and this is just 3 of many, many studies that support the 1-minute metabolism, but 3 studies. The first is with regards to stress and food choice, or the war system and food choice. The second study is stress and weight loss, and how stress or the war, or when you're in a state of war, how that affects weight loss. And then the third is chewing and its effect on the consumption of food. As I said, these are just 3 studies that I've picked out of many, many studies, and I'm happy to send you some of the studies if you send me an email. So let's take a look at war or stress and food choice. The first study was 68 people. The group was divided into 2 groups, Group 1 and Group 2. Group 1 were told they were doing a speech after lunch. So 34 people thought they were going to have to address the crowd and do a speech after lunch. 34 people were told they would be watching a speech after lunch. Scientists had prepared a buffet that everybody could choose exactly what they wanted to eat, anything from high carb to high protein foods, a large buffet that they could choose from. And then all they did was note what people chose when they thought they had to do a speech. This test lasted over 2 days, so they swapped the groups around, and Group 2 were told they would be doing a speech after lunch. And again, they just monitored what people chose, the kinds of food they chose, and how much food they chose. Effectively, what happened is when people thought they were going to be doing a speech, they naturally chose high carb, high sugar foods, and they ate up to 248 calories when they thought they were doing a speech. The brain automatically chooses high sugar, high carb foods when it thinks the body's going to be attacked and it needs to go into a fight or flight situation. And the reason it chooses the high carb, high sugar foods is it needs to provide the body energy to be able to run away. So the brain actually takes over, the primitive brain takes over and causes you to choose high carb, high sugar foods. The control group, the group that thought they weren't doing a speech, the audience group, they chose 148 calories. And as I said, this was run over 2 days, so these groups were switched. So it was really a very fair double-blind study of the groups. And the audience, when they thought they were going to be an audience, chose to eat half of what the speech group chose. So the speech group essentially, or the people that felt that they were going to be under a stressful situation, chose high carb, high sugar foods, and they ate double. So just by reducing your stress, your brain is able to make better food choices. And that's what we do with 1-minute metabolism. We go into a state of appreciation, anticipation, being grateful. That automatically reduces the stress and allows us to choose better foods. So the second study that I'd like to point out is the study that involves stress and weight loss. Once again, it was a study done by the Athens School of Medicine. 38 women were involved in the study. The women were divided into 2 groups. They were asked not to change anything about their lifestyle or their diet. So they essentially were on the same diet for the next 8 weeks. They were eating the same food that they had previously. They were doing the same exercise. The only difference between the control group and the the test group was that the second group was taught stress management techniques. And once again, the 1 minute metabolism actually switches off stress while you're eating, which is one of the most important times you want to switch off stress, is while you're eating. So group 2 were taught stress management techniques, and this was an 8-week study done by the Athens School of Medicine. And what they found was that the normal group had an average weight loss of 1.38 kilograms. They knew they were on a weight loss study, so obviously they lost a little bit of weight, but they didn't really change anything in their diet or in their exercise. They didn't show much of weight loss. The control group, the ones that were taught stress management, they lost 4.4 kilograms. Now remember, they didn't change anything else. All they did was learn better ways of dealing with stress on a daily basis. And by managing stress, what they did was they switched the body to peace, and in a peace situation, the body is able to increase the metabolism, increase weight loss, increase health, switch on the immune system. So peace allowed this group to lose 4 times the weight just by managing stress, by choosing better foods, and by switching on the metabolism. The third study we're looking at is food and consumption, chewing of food and consumption. This study was done in China, and 30 young men took part in the study. They were given the same food choices, exactly the same food, and they were asked to chew the food a certain number of times. So they were given the same plate of food, told that they could eat as much or as little as they liked, and then they were measured based on how many times they chewed the food as to how much they chose. Again, it was a double-blind study, so the groups were switched around. First, they chewed the food 15 times at mealtime, and then they chewed the food 40 times at mealtimes. They just measured the difference between what they ate. They found that the subjects who chewed 40 times ate 10% less, automatically ate 10% less. They also did blood tests on the subjects that took part in this research. And the amazing thing was that they had lower ghrelin levels after having the meal. And we'll talk about ghrelin and leptin and insulin and all of the hormones that help us to eat less or to eat more and to lose weight or to gain weight. But with lower ghrelins, what that means is at the next mealtime, they would have been less hungry and probably have eaten less as well. So by chewing 40 times, not only did they eat less now, that would have an effect on how much they ate at their next mealtime as well. They also had higher levels of a hormone that I cannot pronounce. I'm not going to even try to pronounce, but it's the hunger-suppressing hormone. So they had lower levels of the hormone that makes you hungry and higher levels of the hormone that suppresses hunger, which means, as I said, later on they'll be eating less as well. So there's a knock-on effect to chewing. You'll eat less now and you'll feel full longer and eat less at your next meal. So essentially, the 1 minute metabolism really is based on good science. You will eat less, you will choose better foods, the breathing techniques and the thoughts involved in the 1 minute metabolism actually switch off a state of war, which will ultimately help you lose 4 times the weight without changing anything else that you do. And chewing will allow you to eat less and eat less at the next meal. So really, do the 1 minute metabolism, try it for a week. I promise you'll be astounded at the difference that you feel, both in your health and your well-being, and you'll see a difference in your weight loss. And it is cumulative. So the longer you do it, the more your body will switch on to a state of healthy immune system, healthy digestive system. And if you think about it, we used to pray. You know, a lot of people at the turn of the century would sit down together as a family and pray and thank God for their meal and take 5 or 10 minutes and enjoy their meal. And that's what the 1 minute metabolism boost is designed to do. It's designed to get you to start enjoying your meals, start appreciating your food, and start appreciating how wonderful your body is for using that food. So let's take a look at the difference between war and peace and how the war system evolved, because it's important to understand how your body really works and how detrimental the war state is to the body, and therefore how well the 1 minute metabolism works.